42 is a special number.
Welcome everybody to the Daily Cruising. It is a special number 42.
It is.
You're gonna give us the historical reference. I know where you're going with that,
It's
but I like it.
backwards.
Number 42,
No,
right?
no.
So, yeah, 24 was good for you, but 42 is
Yes.
it's got
No,
greater
it's not
implication.
24.
According to the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, 42 is the number.
I can't believe you came up with that. shit.
I didn't come up with
Like
this.
that,
This is the real thing. 42 is like the sacred number for the universe.
I want you to do me a favor. Google this time.
Yeah.
Google baseball number 42.
Baseball's number 42.
Oh,
Because that's what I
Babe Ruth.
expected
No,
to get.
no.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, number 42. That's what I expected to get.
Yes,
What is it? According to the...
Hitchhiker's Guide to the
Jackie
Galaxy.
Robinson.
Yeah.
I'm like,
he's
we're going to talk about Jackie.
No.
This is what we're going
Talking
into.
about Jackie
No,
Robinson.
I'm talking about something much bigger than Jackie Robinson.
You, John
This is
Travolta, and Tom
intergalactic.
Cruise.
Record. I've been asked yet again
And
to
you-
research
I'm sorry,
something.
guys.
And John Travolta and Tom Cruise, you and all these... what are they?
Scientology reigns supreme.
people. Yes, look at that, man. I'm telling you. Anyway, back to some level of normality here. A couple of things that we definitely got to
Pilot
talk
took
about.
mushrooms.
Listen, here's what happens when you watch too much Joe Rogan, okay? Just so that you know. If you're watching too much Joe Rogan, at some point, he's going to convince you it's not a bad idea for you to try some magic mushrooms,
Yes.
right? I mean, so here we have somebody, an off-duty
Bring on the
pilot,
psychedelic.
who decided to do that. And like 2 days later, like 48 hours later, he ended up having the after effects. We're going to talk about that because this guy had no choice but to tell the judge, Your Honor, I'm sorry. I was high on mushrooms, and here's what happened.
Yeah.
This is the off-duty pilot that almost took the plane down. By the way, it's funny but scary at the same time.
correct.
Right? Guys, anybody, migrants right now in the state of New York are getting free plane tickets to go anywhere you want to. State of New York is running out of time, out of space. State of New York is running out of space. Just so you know, can't go there anymore.
Yeah.
So if you
They've
just
been
recently
around.
crossed the border and you were planning to go to New York, there's no more room.
They are bussing you right back.
Yeah, they want to put you on a plane. Gotta talk about that.
Is that governor gonna get shit for it?
It's not even the governor. It's the absolute mayor of the city. This
The
is
mayor,
Mayor
whoever,
Adams.
like-
To be quite honest with you, I mean, the guy went from send us the people. We are, the again. Let me read you what it says on the bottom of the Statue of Liberty because we are those kind of people. We are sanctuary city. Went from there to it's the end of us. It's over. We can't sustain this. We're gonna be finished.
He didn't realize there was
So
so
he
many
didn't
of them.
realize how much of an issue it was. Again, you know what I mean. Be careful what you wish for.
Yeah.
A year later, can you believe it's already a year anniversary
that
for
sink
Elon Musk buying?
It didn't even feel like a year.
It didn't feel like a year, to be quite honest with you. But apparently, some of your friends,
Yes.
all right, LGBTQ
No,
plus
stop
plus
it. Cut it at the Q.
plus plus
Cut it at the
plus
T.
whatever else follows after infinity are complaining
Did you
that
see that
X
video
has
that I
become
sent
toxic.
Yes.
Has become
There's,
toxic.
there's an eagle on the pride flag. Like,
Yeah,
what in the world
well,
is going? What is the
It's-
eagle on
No,
it?
so no. I just learned there's more than one flag.
No, of course there's more than one flag.
So
I
that
know that.
one you saw was a different one.
There's like 300.
That-
No,
yeah,
there is a-
that's the
there
that's
is
the
a
seriously,
flag
that's
for
the-
every
Give us
that's
take
the
about how
new-
many.
new
That's what I'm
version.
saying.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I
And,
understand that.
and by
but
the way, a new identity is being born on
Yeah.
a daily basis because
Correct,
today
correct.
we are up to God knows how many. So maybe it was a person who
Yeah.
was identifying
as an American.
as an eagle, not as an American.
No, as an American.
As an American.
That was-
I don't
that's-
know. All right, I'll give you that. But we're gonna talk a little bit about Elon Musk. Real estate agents. Some real estate agents are recommending that this is the best time to purchase a home.
I don't know.
At 8%, high prices, maybe you need a new realtor. So we'll talk about that for a second. And in the more somber, unfortunately, more serious side with the stuff that took place out of the state of Maine and city of Lewiston. Listen, 18 people were fatally shot. You know what I mean? This is somebody who was officially, you know what I mean, declared somebody that was having some kind of issues. This is where the system, this goes back to the argument that Vivek was making about the fact that it's not so much an issue with guns and guns permit, but
Yeah.
we do need people that need some more, help. All the institutions that were providing psychiatric assistance are no longer functioning. So listen, when you read something like this, you know what I mean, and you know how ugly the whole game of the conversation of politics is going to get immediately. But at the end of the day, just think about, I'm going to work. You say goodbye to your children. You're not going to war. You're going to work.
Yeah.
No, these
It's a big
guys were
difference.
going to a bowling alley.
Which is even worse.
Yeah.
And so, so whatever feedback you guys have on that. And 3 weeks already, 21 days, the war between Israel and Palestine is taking place. Obviously, it's becoming very clear that they will make good on their promise. Israel making a promise that they are going to decimate Hamas. The thing is that you have, obviously, even Palestinians, not everybody's going to come out to say that would be a good thing long run, but there's a lot of people that are saying that would be a good thing in the long run. The problem that we still have so many innocent people dying, though, so many innocent bystanders, you know what I mean? And so it's very frustrating to see something like that. President Biden just made a recent move. I don't know if you realize that, and I'm going to give credit where credit is due. You know what I mean? They just bombarded a couple of places based out of Syria, which was connected to the presence that Iran has, making it very clear that if you attacked any Americans, the red line is Americans dying. Any American dies, then so what happened here is one of the, unfortunately, we still have so many bases all throughout the world, right? And so one of those bases was attacked. One of the workers actually didn't die from direct, enemy contact, but he ended up having a heart attack in the process of the whole thing. So they went and bombarded.
That was enough.
That was enough. You know what I mean? It was, and so an armed depot and a ammunition warehouse. So that would significantly diminish. But again, it's a reminder. These guys got stuff all over the place. They got weapons all over the place. They have the ability to move them. They have plenty of money today. So it's not going to be an easy fight because you're allowing somebody to get stronger. You're allowing somebody who is your enemy that you're making efforts to try to become friends with, but is your enemy. Makes it very clear that it's your enemy. Yeah. You're allowing it to get stronger. You can't be surprised about what's going to happen. And the final thing, guys, that we need to cover quickly is we have a new Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, and we'll talk about it. I'm just extremely happy. I think that at this point, Republicans were just looking incompetent and unable to agree. Or just think about that. How much time was wasted with so many things that needed to be addressed. So, and I'm going to tell you why this is important when it comes to what happened there, in contrast with how Democrats right now, they like it or not, for anybody that pays attention to these things, Democrats right now are doing it right. There's a sense of unity there that Republicans are not projecting. So we'll talk about that. But anyway, guys, listen. So serious question. Have you ever tried magic mushrooms?
No.
No.
I could have.
You could have.
Yeah,
It came close.
I'm a little nervous.
Yeah, a little nervous.
Yeah. I haven't heard good experiences from it, so I'm a pass. I eat mushrooms, like not the magic ones, like shiitake. Was it portobello? Yeah, I eat those.
Baby Bella, just to make it safe.
But no,
that's
no
the extreme
mushrooms.
of the mushroom experience. That
Correct.
But it's dangerous, though. You know what I mean? This is crazy how somebody can put that many lives in danger just because you decided to, you know what I mean, and then have no choice but to come clean to it.
Well, to give an argument for mushrooms, I think I would rather somebody do mushrooms than like crystal meth.
Okay.
To me,
it's more organic.
It's more
plant-based.
Exactly. It's natural, comes from the earth. So yeah, things like mushrooms, ayahuasca. Like I've never heard somebody going on about all the great experiences they had from crystal meth. I've never heard that before. But from mushrooms, I've had people tell me that like
ayahuasca.
That's what I'm saying. Like
having enlightening.
That's what I'm saying. I've heard good things.
Of their lives.
I've heard good things about it. But I'm a little scared.
There are centers all over Central America.
Yeah, where you can get mushrooms or ayahuasca.
Yeah. Experience.
So I hear good things. I'm just a little nervous about that for myself.
Well, yeah, you know, I heard Joe Rogan talking about it multiple times and incredible, including the whole ayahuasca experience. I paid even a little more attention because even Jordan Peterson talks about it, right? And so I'm like, well, what do you mean talking about ayahuasca? What are you doing? You know what I mean? You're talking about. So, looked into it, see what the whole thing is all about. But at the end of the day, listen, whenever you put yourself in a position where you're running the risk of not being fully there.
Correct.
And you're going to lose it to the point. The only thing that I can compare this, when I was younger, I don't know how many times you got drunk in your life. I think I can count it to like 3 times in my life. Right?
I cannot confirm nor deny.
Yeah, correct.
How many times you got high to
Never. Never.
He knows that this video, his family watches this. That's what happens. Right?
Hi, Mom.
Yeah, never. But go ahead.
You know that moment where you wake up and you don't even remember how you got home? You know what I mean? I can only imagine, but that's different than to freak out. Like somebody like you losing it to the point that you're not yourself. But the thing is, like, I don't care if you want to be high out of your mind, but you're not a danger to society. You know what I mean? Like, it's like when you're putting so many people's life at risk because you decided to go try something out, like especially if it's something. I mean, I don't know if this was his first experience. You know what I mean? But if you're trying something new, and you don't know how that, you better be at least planted in the ground somewhere. You know what I mean? Don't jump in a freaking plane.
It's not like mushrooms come with instructions. Hey, don't do anything stupid.
I'm pretty sure that even Dave Chappelle can actually help you understand what that experience on mushrooms is all about. So if you Google that, you're going to get plenty of, hey, be careful. When it hits you, it's going to hit you funny.
Week.
So, but listen, I'm just glad that nothing happened to people there. You know what I mean? And so I was planning to go to Seattle, which is on the other side of the country. And I don't know if you know this, guys, but airline tickets are very expensive, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a book bag. I'm going to drive to New York and just grab a little book bag and use my normal accent and see if New York wants to. I'm just going to say, hey, I just got here.
Still sound fresh off the boat.
That's what I'm saying. You know what I mean? I'm just going to go. Maybe I can get a free ticket.
Yeah, I want to know how that works.
To, like, what is the requirement? Are you in one of those hotels that they paying for and they want to. I mean, the whole thing is that they can't take any more people. I want to know who's passing on that information. Do you think, guys, do you think that that's going to slow down the amount of people that are just about to get to the border right now? Say, whoa, stop, everybody.
New York's got too many people.
New York's full.
The place is packed. We got to turn. Let's go back.
Turn around.
Is this like the most, if it wasn't so sad that's a solution? That's a solution, really?
So here's where I have a question: how is it okay that this guy is offering that, and then all of a sudden they gave a lot of grief to DeSantis and Abbott for busing people into other cities, into sanctuary cities to top it off? So how is it different?
Well, your best guy, potentially one day future president, Gavin Newsom, was looking into as to whether or not there was a possibility of setting up criminal charges against DeSantis for busing and moving and flying people around.
Well, I hope you're looking into your very best friend, the mayor of New York as well, Mr. Skittles Newsom.
My whole issue is that, we spoke about this before. You keep creating all these incentives for people to come.
Yeah.
You're accommodating in these environments that are phenomenal places. Like one of the hotels that we drove by, it was a brand new facility. You know what I mean? It's not.
No, it was nice. I know what you're talking about. It's not like a shelter or nothing. No,
1,000%. Being accommodated in a way that.
Correct.
This is a complete different experience. You're probably, if I would have known that I was going to be treated, I would have left the country sooner. You know what I mean? Just to come here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's that kind of feeling. You know what I mean? It's like, man, this is nice.
Who
you know what
cares about 18? Let's do it at 16.
And then you assume that somewhere somehow that's going to slow down people from coming, and you assume that somewhere somehow now they're going to pay attention because you're the one who's saying it.
So here's what's going to happen. Now when you come, just to make matters worse, we're going to put you on a first-class flight to wherever you want in the world, all expenses paid. probably on Delta, so that's going to make the experience a lot worse.
We'll see
You
what
know,
happens.
so,
Man. We'll see what happens. All I'm saying is, this is it's just becoming laughable by the minute.
It is.
Very unfortunate because at the end of the day, again, all these mixed signals, right?
Yeah.
Where by not having a very clear, immigration policy,
Yep.
and as a country right now, we don't have a clear position. We have all this kind of crazy stuff taking place, but. Or maybe they're gonna put everybody in an airplane with Joseph D. Emerson, hopefully without the mushroom.
Oh my God.
Give everybody a mushroom experience. They're gonna be dragged back home and won't know what happened. Wake up right back in Honduras. It's like, what happened? Like, Jesus.
That is funny.
That trip.
Oh my gosh.
Talking about a bad trip. Right? So what's the story, man, with Elon Musk and your people complaining about?
Those are not my people.
Okay, so
The moment they changed the flag
okay.
into it looks like, I read a comment the other day, it says, it looks like cotton candy
It does.
took a shit on the pride flag. And
That's
now
funny.
there's an eagle on it.
And it's a different shade of purple now.
It's just too much. I don't understand it. Please do not lump me into that.
That's
I
funny.
do not belong to that community.
I'm not gonna lie to you. Twitter was not a big. It was definitely not a platform that I was using prior to Elon. You know what I mean? Right now, I pay a little more attention to it. What happened was, by paying a little more attention to it, I was able to pick up a lot of updated information, which to me that was absolutely surprising, right? The amount of the volume of
speed.
information, absolutely,
The
right?
speed
That's
of
being moved through the
information is
platform. I was like, you know what? I need to pay a little more attention to it and use it a little better. You know what I mean? But I haven't seen anything that will amount to misinformation yet, personally. I'm not saying that it's not there. I've seen some crazy opinions, right? I've seen some people that will try to convince you about certain things that I don't necessarily agree with. And maybe the difference is that, you know what I mean, that as an older person, I'm clearer about certain things. So I can read something, I'm like, well, that's a stupid statement, or that's definitely not something that I agree with. But your experience with the platform, first of all, how much do you use it? Are you using
I
it
don't
a lot?
use Twitter.
You don't
Or
use it
X,
at all?
Yeah.
So you don't know exactly what they're complaining about? Is that
No,
what you're
well, I mean, I
saying?
still hear about it. Yeah, like it's one of those things you're gonna hear about it no matter what. But I don't use X. Yeah, I feel like I was too late to the party. I don't want to go anymore. At this point, I was like, no. So I don't use it. I use a lot of other platforms that you guys don't like. But
like
Discord.
like the Chinese,
Correct.
You know what I mean?
TikTok.
Who's spying in
And
all your.
Correct.
Are you
Yeah.
12?
You know, Chinese know my information because you have my information. So
Aw,
that's
man.
that's how they got to me.
Collateral
True.
damage.
Exactly. So that you like, that you use. What about you?
No, I don't use TikTok, but I do X. I do. I
Yeah.
mess around with it a little bit.
But have you seen anything that you will consider?
What I see is there's a lot of
And were you using it
both
before
sides.
though?
Yes.
Were you using it before?
Yes, I was using it before.
So do you see a change on the language? I do see
Yeah, I
people
see
that were
both
banned
sides
or
were getting
participating.
called out. There's this thing
Okay.
called community notes, and so
Okay.
by the way, it became part of the platform already.
Mhm.
Hey, can somebody get community notes on this? And so, and it'll say, this is what they meant when they said this, or the real article is this. So, I mean, I appreciate X for what he's doing, right, as information goes. The speed of information is just unbelievable.
So,
But you
question.
wouldn't agree with that statement that is worse.
No, not at all. It's just, well, I mean, when you're used to only seeing one side because the other side is censored, then
Correct.
I can understand how somebody that will look at things that they don't agree with pop
Or
in
they
more
didn't
often.
get to see showing up before
Right,
because it was
right.
because it
Right,
was censored.
so exactly, they don't agree, they didn't get to because there was no censorship.
Yeah.
So I actually appreciate that because, like I said, I always say it, I wanna drive myself crazy and I wanna see both sides of the
Correct.
equation. And Twitter, X really does let me go and really go crazy on one side, and then I'm like, let me go loony on the other side. So, I mean, I'm talking about,
You wanted to say?
Yeah, I was saying because I noticed like on what is that thing? I don't know if it's Instagram or IG, one of the two. I mean, or YouTube, where now if you see a video they'll have like a fact checker thing pop up, say, "Oh, this has not been verified," or we have reason to believe that this is false. Do they do things like that where they'll tell you that they don't believe that this?
The
what you're
community
about to see
notes
is-
does sort of
Okay.
kind of like that.
Okay,
Yeah.
got it.
So
got it.
it'll tell, but it will tell you this is what they meant.
Okay.
And even they'll have people questioning certain things,
Yeah.
and they will be like, "There's no reason to question this."
Got it.
So like the other day on my Instagram account, I was fact checked because of a motivational quote. It was too funny. What is it? It was success is not fatal.
Yeah,
And I'm like, what in the world? I'm just like, it was so silly.
I
I'm
thought you
like,
were
seriously,
promoting
guys?
something about Donald Trump, but
No,
it was
nothing. It was
that.
like
That's
Well,
success
crazy.
give it
is
a
not
quote.
fatal.
You actually quoted a quote. I didn't see anywhere where you suggested that it came from Winston Churchill, and that's what they actually censor you for.
Because I
Because
said
they
something that
say-
Winston Churchill said.
But they say that there was no
Like Winston Churchill
no
didn't actually
guarantee
say
that
it.
he actually said that quote. But I didn't see
No, there's
you
nothing. I just
saying
quote the
anything.
thing.
You quoted the
Yeah.
thing, and there's no Winston
It
Churchill
was a video
anywhere.
of a hallway in an office.
Yeah.
And it said, success is not fatal
Yeah.
and something or other. And
Well,
it
that's
was
why I
like-
got a little concerned because
Yeah.
I saw that it was in the office. I'm like, what did she say?
Yeah,
Like,
like,
But
Nothing,
see, that,
not
that's
really.
what, and the reason why I brought that up is because to me that concerns me because I'm like, who has this magic
Correct.
wand
Correct.
who can
And
say
decides.
what is good or bad or what's
Look,
right or
there
wrong?
are
I'm like,
some
I don't know.
crazy
No, I get
things
it. I get
that
it.
you can see in Facebook.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if you've seen that the interview that I think Patrick did with the
Mhm.
Facebook guy like a couple of years ago,
Mhm.
and it just got really intense as far as like
Yeah.
bestiality and things that are live on Facebook, but they have an issue with the little Winston Churchill.
Correct,
Winston
correct,
Churchill
and that's
quote.
my
Like,
point.
I don't
yeah.
understand.
Like these people need they need to pay attention to what they're paying attention to.
Right.
You know. So yeah. So I'm a little wary of things like that. So even with X, I'm not sure if I like them being able to censor. Or
The
do
community
He likes
on-
TikTok.
Yeah.
He likes-
Yeah, listen. At the end of the day,
It's the new
is
wave.
if you should have the freedom if you want to watch
Mm.
crazy to watch crazy. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? The problem is when you don't know better.
Yeah.
When it's crazy and
That's true.
you haven't formulated your own opinions about
That's true.
anything because either you're too young
Mhm.
or you haven't been exposed to certain things and now you are. You know what I mean? And then you looking at things that.
Yeah. No, I get it.
You know what I mean? And so
It's a weird
I
space,
it's
yeah.
probably happy medium somewhere. I haven't found it because as long as there is an agenda somewhere, you know what I mean, right or left or business or political or there's that it's gonna be one-sided.
Mhm.
And so at some point you truly have to decide. Listen, if there's something acceptable to be part of my conversation or my
But to
environment.
this statement, fake news. I think it's
That
complete
would
and
to
utter-
me exactly. I know this is just. Can I ask a question though? For how long is it okay to play victim and to claim victim, to cry victim?
Well, right now,
Like that.
victimhood is a currency. So what do you mean by that?
When are we gonna get to remove this from the conversation?
When
'Cause for the
things
last
get real bad.
how many years? How many years now?
What is it?
at?
Strong men create good times.
But it-
good times create weak men. Weak men create tough times. Tough
And
times create.
hopefully strong men again.
Mhm.
But
Yes.
So-
if there's any left.
Well,
but that is the cycle. But the thing is, like, here's what in the last 30 years we saw some changes.
Mhm.
Last 20 years, you get a little more intensified about certain things, right? Last 10 years, though, anything from reparations to, I mean, the language just got, but then COVID comes around, and it looks like everybody came out of whatever hiding cave they were into, and this whole victim language and mentality, that, you know what I mean, it's like complaining about what precisely? You know how many things are said about, like, choose the group. There's not a single group that is not upset from somebody really criticizing or saying something wrong about it. You know, so, and just to say that the language has become more, it's just, you know, or to suggest that the overall platform is a lot more toxic, for me, is just, again, a group of people attacking Elon Musk himself. You know what I mean? And that's attacking the platform in many ways, is attacking the guy
Mhm.
who went out there and decided to pay $44 billion so that we can say whatever the hell we want.
Yeah,
Or
yeah.
at least the concept is and has been, you highlighted something super important, you know. There are people that never got to literally see some opinions from other people that were completely thrown out of the platform Now they're getting to see that, so maybe that's what they're concerned about.
That's possible. Yeah.
$44 billion just to make sure that the platform is not perfect, but it's just a little more balanced out. And some people are complaining.
Here is something that I just found out. I was watching this Jubilee, and they had trans conservatives versus trans liberals. And from that debate, I saw that Blair White is not even on TikTok. So it's like you allow a bunch of crazy. By the way, Blair White is a conservative trans woman, and she speaks out for do not medically castrate the children, do not transition the children when they're young, to stop it with the puberty blockers and stuff like that. And so that's not okay. She's permanently banned from TikTok. However, you have people say messages like, this is for the children. Your parents are crap. And you come to me, and it's this creepy dude with this beard putting makeup on saying that. So how is that okay? But for somebody to say, you know what? I'm not okay with you. I mean, there's a bunch of detransitioners that are happening right now. How is, that's what I mean. There's one side that is very highly represented, and then the other side is not. It's either none or both of them, but it's just terrible. So.
And for me, I think.
So that's what I appreciate about Twitter.
Yes, no, I get you, but I think, but the problem is there's things like that they're probably even complaining about. They don't want to see that. I don't want to see a fair, balanced conversation. I want it to and not me, but you know what I mean. If I'm the person who has an opinion, I want to see my opinion, and that's it. I don't want any conversation or any information about anything other than what I'm talking about, because I know that the more people who hear the other side, they're gonna want to listen to it. Yeah.
Well,
which I don't want that.
So here's where I would challenge that, and it's the fact that the algorithm take care of that, period. Literally, you look at one cat video or one dog video, and it's the rest of it is dog videos. So if you really truly want to stay on one side of the equation, you totally can and not have a problem with it, and go through life without even knowing that there's a whole other side. The problem is the accessibility of, if I want to do my research and the only thing that I find is one end, then that becomes a problem.
Gotcha.
I'm a kid forming my opinion about my own life, about who I am, and then all of a sudden there's all of these, so anyway.
Let's see how it goes. But obviously, 12 months went by quickly, you know what I mean? It's
Happy
I
birthday, X.
cannot believe that a year went by under his ownership, so I think it's, like I said, not perfect, but from my perspective, like I said, to the extent that I'm paying a lot more attention to what's going on in there, I'll start promoting a lot more stuff through those platforms. But with that being said, guys, here's one of the things that I cannot handle. It just drives me crazy. When the average realtor, who's so-called out there just to help the average buyer, we're not talking about investors, and we're not talking about realtors that work with sophisticated investors, right? When they use terms like, this is the best time for you to purchase a home, the fact of the matter is that that's the wrong way to approach the conversation with somebody. By the way, if you just use the numbers, this is the highest point of the market at this moment. That doesn't make it the best time to buy them. This is the highest interest rate that we have seen in 20 plus years. That doesn't make it the best time to buy a property. There's a lot less access to capital. That doesn't make it a lot. There's, for whatever reason, there's a funny situation with inventory where it's not even available. That doesn't make it the best time to buy a house.
Well, no one wants to get out of their mortgage.
And you have a lot of people. No, exactly. But here's my point. When you're having a conversation today with somebody, because the purpose of statements like that is to remove the fear that people have from the market, right? But if you got to have an honest conversation with people. If somebody's a realtor out there and you're still using the best time you haven't been properly trained, you need to have a conversation with somebody that's going to help you have a conversation with a person saying, what are you hoping to accomplish with that property, Lorena? Are you planning to stay there 15, 20 years? Is that what your ultimate, because you're going to see markets going on, markets going down. But if your idea is to be there for that lengthy, let's just concentrate on, is this the best place for you and your family to be there? we know there are some challenges with the market. We know there's going to be some challenges with the interest rate. The good news is that if things drop, you're going to have
You
the
get to
ability
refinance.
to do
Yeah.
all the things that you need to do. And by paying down your mortgage, at some point, God willing, you'll have some equity. But you're not going in there. This is not an investment. You want
Right.
your family to be. You want to have ownership of that space. That's the conversation you got to have with the family. Not, oh man, you know what I mean. This is the best time because what?
Yeah.
What is it? If you keep selling people the idea that your home is an investment opposed to your home is your home, you're having the wrong conversation
Gotcha.
altogether.
Yeah.
So what are you guys seeing on this?
I feel like things like this, it gives people who are in sales a bad name, you know, and what happens is that we need salespeople, right?
Correct.
Because if not, we wouldn't have all the things we have. But here's how I think about it. If you know how they say money is the root of all evil, right? Well, I think a better way of thinking, the lack of money, right, is the root of all evil. Because what happens is, if I'm starving as a real estate agent, and interest rates are high, you know, the conditions are I'm selling less houses, but this is my bread and butter. So then, no, this is the best time for you to buy a house, right? Because I need to sell this house.
Correct.
So if the average real estate agent is starving, now they're more liable to say anything. They're more liable to do anything to get you an out because I need to eat. You get what I'm saying? So then I feel like for them, yes, this is the best time.
But my point is,
pockets are
listen,
empty right
if
now.
you're representing the seller
Yeah.
per se, right? You want the property to, of course, you want to motivate people to come and purchase that
Yeah.
property because you're representing the seller
Mhm.
to do that. Here's the good news: not a lot of inventory in the market.
Mhm.
You shouldn't have a big issue, a big problem selling that house. You should be able to get some contracts. The problem is, as to whether or not the person who's buying is going to qualify for that loan, have to put a lot more money down. So the buyer's pool is also shrinking. You know what I mean? And sophisticated investors
Yeah.
are not buying the traditional price, especially right. What are we? October right now, right?
Yes.
End of October. They're looking for deals.
Mm-hmm.
And a deal for an investor has got to be something to the tune of, if the market is asking for 300, I better be able to get it for like 230,000. Can you still find something like that? Yeah, possible. You know what I mean? They need some work. They need some. You got to have some expertise. But that's what I'm saying. It's okay for somebody
Yeah.
to say, don't be afraid. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This go ahead. Like I the other day, I saw somebody very much along the lines of what I'm suggesting. And I'm saying, well, okay, he's a guy who gets it. You know what I mean? Because, and then the second thing is that having an honest conversation with people is going to take you a long way, right? Again, you also got to be clear about why are you doing this.
So I saw a concept that said, I think it was like marry the home, date the rate, or something like that,
Correct.
which is, you know, at some point the rates are gonna drop back down and you'll be able to refinance, but you'll be married to your home and
Yeah.
to the concept that you're gonna be able to stay there.
Mhm.
I have a question for you though.
Mhm.
Where is the wealth in real estate?
Mhm.
Let me frame it. Is it realtors that are like filthy rich wealthy?
Mhm.
Is it the mortgage broker? I mean the not the broker, but the real estate broker that
Mhm.
has a bunch of agents, that has a really good operation that creates a lot of wealth? Or is it on the real estate investment side, the person that is the educated investor, as you call them,
Mhm.
and that's that? Where is the real money in real estate?
Very few realtors become extremely wealthy without investing or putting money themselves into real estate.
Meaning
So the wealth-
they become
The wealth comes from the
investor.
ownership of the, yeah.
Okay, fair
Right, so, and then it's a very small group of people. Listen, right now, you know that the market is not going well with just about every guru is selling training. That guy doesn't have any more houses to sell, doesn't have any more clients to sell. So now he's gonna sell another salesperson into buying training to go do something that probably the market won't
Right.
even support. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
I get you,
Because the
yeah.
easiest person to sell is the salesperson. It's the same language. You know what I mean? It doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
This,
yes.
Wouldn't you agree to like so that?
Yes.
Yeah, you're right. There you go. There you go.
Where am I
Yeah,
signed?
I like this guy.
Alex is about to buy a package of whatever it is that we're selling right now. But that's my point. You know what I mean? My point is, but there's a very small group of people that they do understand that, especially, by the way, not even in the percentage market, because you have a lot of brokers that have a bunch of realtors right now, and they operate on the commission percentage gap. Some people call it residual. In reality, it's override income, right? Your contract is 70%. I'm 100%. So I get, as a
30.
broker, I get the 30% gap, right? He's a better realtor, so had a lot more experience. So his contract was 80%. I only get to keep 20 on him, but the volume justifies,
Some more houses.
the difference, right? Now, so the people that, I can't believe I'm going to say this for free. I don't know if I should say this for free, to be quite honest with you.
So
I-
this
I don't
conversation
know.
is going to be.
I
where
think it's
are we
gonna be
clipping it?
to be continued. I don't know what I can say this. I don't know what I want to. Listen, the membership model becomes,
Right.
during bad markets, it becomes a lot more profitable for a very good real estate broker. So that, opposed to depending on the actual sell, that override gap, they just collect in a
You have
monthly basis.
1,000 agents paying $100.
Yes. So you see guys out there right now making $60,000, $80,000 to $100,000 per month. It has nothing to do with what they couldn't
Selling
care
houses.
less if they got a superstar. They couldn't care less if you sold
Got
a
it,
house
got
or
it,
not.
got it. That makes
It's just a
sense.
different model.
Yeah.
But that also means that you got to have an effective recruiting structure. You got to have an effective support system
Right.
for that many people. And by the way, they need less support because they're going to be essentially 100% commission. You're not overriding anything. You're just getting that.
Yeah, but
monthly
you need
fee.
to have systems in place.
But you still have to, because at the end of the day, the broker is the one who's legally liable
Right.
for any of
Right.
those contracts and any of those things. And then the final thing is, you do gotta have some support training wise, you know what I mean?
Right.
So it is actually a good, robust website that makes it friendly to
So
operate.
here's a crazy idea and an
Mhm.
invitation for all the realtors right now, regardless of where they think the market is.
All right.
Get your damn insurance license.
I-
It's just an opportunity to previous clients, cross-sell, the ones that don't necessarily qualify for anything right now, warm them up,
Yeah.
because you're gonna be able to have them become your client for one thing, and once they trust you, you're able to do that for another. But that would be like a suggestion, instead of using this market like the best time to purchase a home, which it could actually be sort of misleading.
But you see that line, because that's a line, right? This is the best time to. You know how many people, especially obviously brokers, don't want to lose their agents to another market, opposed to the broker himself, getting involved into the idea of having, multiple licenses, right? Especially the ones that are parallel to each other.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like when these things work parallel, you want to say, especially when you have agents that are not necessarily making a lot of money, and they also don't have a big marketplace to what they call an area to farm, or they don't have the relationships
Yeah.
to develop. Anything that gives you a reason to have more conversations with other people can only help you.
Correct,
It's a
correct,
people's business,
I
you know what I
get you,
mean?
yeah.
And so you hear lines like, well, you don't want to get confused with the market. You don't want to. How is it? Who in God's name? This is not brain surgery.
Yeah.
Neither one of the two licenses is a complicated process.
Correct.
How are you going to get
Yeah.
confused?
Correct,
It's
correct,
like,
correct.
I don't want my identity to be confused.
That's what I
Well,
think it
we'll
is.
get you a flag if your identity gets confused. You know what I mean? We can come up with something. But
He's
I
gonna have a little
don't.
house.
I just don't understand. I don't understand how anybody is okay
Yeah.
using those lines. Why don't you say that you're just lazy? Just say that you don't want to learn a little more. You don't want to
Yep.
say that you don't want to be a well-rounded business
I get
person
it.
because
So,
you're an
but I think
independent
this is big
contractor.
though, because what you're saying is so key. Because if I look at it, like if I'm a real estate agent and I look at me expanding the ways that I'm able to make money, serve more individuals, and I'm making more money, and I'm just expanding how I'm able to help people, that's a good thing. But I think most of them are not looking at it like that. They're looking at it where if you say, "Hey, get another license," they feel like they failed at real estate, and now they're like they're doing something in opposition versus it complements each other. So that's the way they should be thinking about it. But I think a lot of them, because they're not where they want to be already, right? Now they're looking at it. If I do anything outside of this, like for whatever reason, real estate agents, they feel like they're like brain surgeons, like you said. It's not brain surgery, but they feel like they are sometimes.
Yeah, here's the one
And
thing
then
that
so if they're not doing if they're doing anything outside of that, oh man, I failed as a
correct, but
You know?
I want you to keep this in mind, right? Is when you part of services, when you're dealing with people and you're gonna show up to, you either are transactional or you are somebody that's building relationships.
Mhm.
If you're transactional, I don't care if I ever see you again. I just came for this commission.
That's
I
it.
One
cannot
night
wait.
stand.
I cannot wait to
I
get
got you.
paid. If I don't see you again,
Yeah.
hopefully I'll find somebody else that's gonna
Correct,
make me
correct.
some money. I'm moving on to the next transaction.
Yeah.
If I'm building relationships, I want you to call me when you have a question about something.
Got it.
I want you to look at me as part of the group, of the trusted group of people
Advisors, yeah.
that you are going to call
Yeah.
to say, hey, I want to run this by you,
Yeah.
right? Maybe I can help you. Maybe if I don't have the ability to help you, at least I know
Correct.
who to send you
Absolutely.
to.
Absolutely.
Which is ultimately, hey, listen, I don't handle that, but I'm going to tell you the best person. So relationships means you have to understand multiple industries. You have to understand multiple solutions. You have to understand how they connect to each other. And you have to understand, if not you, who's the best person who can come in
Correct.
and make it happen, right? But you can trust, Alexi, trust me, you can tell in just about every industry. The guy who's transactional
Yeah.
and the person who's a relationship professional. You know what I mean?
Got
So,
it.
but that's,
Yeah.
I agree with you. The recommendation is you're already making money with a license. All you gotta do is
Get
add
another
another
one.
license
I like it.
that hopefully can make you some money. So
And by
that's
the
it.
way, here's the thing, the turnaround time is a lot faster. It takes you 30 to 45 days to
Correct.
get on a contract paid out. I don't know what it will take in this market.
Yeah.
You know, we're getting policies approved in 2 days.
Mm.
Yes, the commissions is less, but it's also faster.
By the way, you can reach out to us. We can give you some recommendations about certain
Absolutely.
things that you can do with licenses, you know what I mean? So send a little message if you have any questions about how to connect those markets.
Mhm.
With that being said, guys, a couple of things, again, not too excited to talk about this whole situation that took place out of Maine. To see that many people and somebody who's not well, who's very clearly not on, and to top it up, as of this moment that we're making this video, still hasn't been captured. You know what I mean? So this is a guy who has enough resources available, and he's resourceful enough to be able to hide up from
Yeah.
law enforcement,
Yeah.
right? Was able to get everything that he needed. So I think that we are too quick to say there was a mental, psychological issue.
Yeah.
Listen, there are some bad people out there.
That's true. I get you.
They just get to the point where they are so dissatisfied about life and everything around it, their own life, that here's what cowards do. What cowards do is, instead of taking the gun and putting it to your head, which is what you should have done, you coward, right? You go around and you kill innocent people. That's the part that I don't. And man, if this was one of my family members, I would be telling to this man. I'm not gonna mention his name. Just let me just call you a coward, because that's what you are, for doing what you did to this incredible amount of families. If this would have been a family member, you better be hoping and praying that the police will find you before I do, because I can do a very detailed description on how I would literally torture you for probably a month before I even allow you to die, because this is it's so painful, it's so extreme, it's so just talking about families, you know what I mean, that you left the house, you went out even to have some fun with family, you know what I mean. So the whole conversation about gun control, the whole conversation about, you know what I mean, what additional things we need to add. I mean, when you see something like this, guys, what is it?
I mean, no matter what, anytime you see innocent people die, it's a bad situation. But I believe the opposite of what most people are thinking about guns. You know, I don't believe people should have less guns. I think people should have more. Because if every single person in that bowling alley had a gun, this wouldn't have went down the same way. Yeah. Maybe two.
Yeah.
But after that,
Yeah.
that would have been the end of your escapade. No, it needs to be like the Wild Wild West, to where, if you step on my shoe, there's a possibility there's gonna be a duel outside.
Can we
I mean, Maine is a pretty.
How can we be in
liberal
such
state.
an opposite you know what I mean? Like, how can somebody look at this whole situation and immediately go into nobody should have a gun? And then you have perspective when
No,
it said,
I mean-
if I would have been there and I have a gun, there's
Game
no way
over.
this.
I mean,
yeah.
you know
Yeah.
how to use it. You know what to do.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
the mindset of the person. It's just proper training as to how to use it.
Yeah.
I'm not
Like,
trying to
I-
understand what happened to you when you were 6 years old. If you start shooting at people,
Correct.
yeah,
Yeah.
then I'll read your story.
Yeah.
Like, maybe
It's called an obituary.
Yeah,
No, I mean, it's a
yeah,
terrible
yeah.
thing to joke about, but here is the thing. let's say you ban all the guns away from people's hands.
Yes.
Who's gonna have the guns?
The criminals.
The bad guys.
Correct,
so what is the freaking point of
Makes
saying,
no sense.
let's get rid of the guns, let's leave innocent people unarmed without the ability to protect themselves from psychos like these and government?
But to me,
there's
Lorena,
no freaking way.
To me, this is not even a political position. To me, this is not even a Second Amendment issue. To me, this is just a common sense issue, right?
Yeah.
That to me, and again, what's amazing, and that's what makes this environment so unique. You know what I mean? What's amazing is, to have people that truly believe that the solution is the opposite of what we're describing right now. That we didn't have a conversation about this prior to this conversation.
Correct.
The three of us agree on the man. It would have made such a difference. If one person alone.
So I mean, for me, we were just talking about victimhood being a currency. For me, it kind of correlates to that. Right? It's like taking the guns away is like making and creating more victims versus you saying, guess what? If I'm going to have a gun, I get the training for it, I know how to properly use it and stuff like that. There's more responsibility, there's more accountability to the process. So it's like, again, if we are, what is it? Tough times create strong people. It's like we right now need strong men and women.
Absolutely.
And that's it, by the way.
And the big issue that I have is the things they try to highlight about this is they take something as tragic as 18 different families losing somebody and create a situation that this is the reason why that we need to control your weapon. No, it's not true, because I'm pretty sure there's a bunch of other cases where there was a shooting, go down like this, but we're not going to highlight those. Or there's other situations where somebody was crazy and decided to take a car, run over. We're not going to hear about that as a reason why everybody should stop having cars. Like, so you can spin a story the way you want to spin it if you have an agenda, which to me,
by the way,
they're highlighting the story for a specific reason.
I think it was in Minnesota or Minneapolis, one of the M cities, that not Maine, where guy went into the restroom at a mall and started shooting people, but there was a gentleman that had guns, and he actually shot and fatally killed the guy. Guess what? How much news did you hear about that?
You're not going to hear about that. No.
Nothing, right? Because at that moment, exactly what we're talking about worked.
Well, it's worse than that. If you look into the same day that this happened, if you look at how many people died in high crime areas, you know what I mean? How many people died in Chicago that day? How many people died in Brooklyn that day? How many people died?
I get you.
So this whole conversation, man, you know what I mean? It can be manipulated one way or the other. I'm talking about remove the politics for a moment, remove this whole argument about Second Amendment, and ask yourself, when you find yourself into an environment like that, do you want to be a sitting duck, or will you want to at least have the opportunity, the possibility to defend yourself and defend your family?
Absolutely.
I think about, I go out with, my wife and my children. We do, like dinners, right? Family dinners. Before my children were around, you know what I mean? I used to say, I'll take a bullet for my wife. You know what I mean? It's a funny thing once you have children. Right? Once I think there was, what's the name of this? The guy who played Green Lantern, Reynolds. Ryan Reynolds. He was telling David Letterman, he was giving him a description about how he felt after his child was born. That I was like, I gotta have my wife watch this, because this is exactly, I hate to say it, how I feel. He said, I was willing to take a bullet for my wife. I will do anything. But the moment this baby was born, I realized that I was able to grab, without hesitation, to grab my wife and use her as a human shield to protect my baby.
That's funny.
Yeah,
I don't think you should say that.
So I'm sorry, honey. I'm sorry.
I like Dee better. I hope she uses you. Just so you know. Heaven forbid you're not in that position.
All I'm saying is that my children.
Yes.
Listen, there are a lot of things that I'm okay accepting, even when it comes to me or even my wife. You know what I mean? But my children is a different animal. You know what I mean? When you start going into that's a non-negotiable. You know what I mean? And so, but I look at moments like that and I'm saying, somebody lost a father, lost a mother,
Yeah.
lost a child, lost a brother, lost a husband. I mean, it's just,
Mm-hmm.
it's just I don't know, man. For me, it's a situation of common sense. My heart
Yeah.
goes out to those families,
Absolutely.
and we'll definitely send a prayer to them, guys. Just to start winding this down, Israel and Hamas still fighting.
Mm-hmm. It's not gonna stop.
Israel is. This is not going to be exactly. This was not going to be a 2-3 week type of situation. They are looking to go in there and to clean up. You know, multiple Hamas commanders had been already taken out. They're going to go after everybody, anybody who is playing a role. The whole idea is that there will be no Hamas as an organized entity ever again out of that. That's has been the position, and they're going to fight for that. But in addition to how horrible this whole situation is, right, and again, the innocent lives that are being lost right now, one of the things that was happening is every American base that happens to be in the area, and we have many. We have some in Turkey, we have some in Syria, we have some. I mean, we have some in Iraq. We have some. So they were finding themselves under attack, like constantly saying. So one of these triggered a situation where somebody had a heart attack. You know, again, those rockets being thrown into one of the areas, the person dies, and for almost a week they were pressing the Biden administration. What are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? And nothing was coming out. But you know, apparently a choice had already been made about you know, striking these facilities. That's a way of answering. That's also a way of sending a signal to Iran saying, do not get involved in this whole situation. This was not something even coordinated with Israel because they don't want these two things to be lumped together.
Yeah.
It's not we fighting our planes to go defend Israel right now. This is you attacked American soldiers, you attack American soil, you attack anybody. There's a price to pay. There's a price, and that I'm gonna tell you, man. I was waiting for that message because it is when there's this sense of weakness. You know what I mean? That if you look at, unfortunately, our president and the foreign policy of Democrats in general is never a strong policy. It's like you want to be friends with your enemies. How much, you know, during the Obama administration, I will argue, this is my personal opinion, right, that they were trying to become friends with somebody who is a mortal enemy to the United States, right? Didn't go too well. Trump administration was drying out the money, put just about every single limitation, call it whatever you want to call it, made it very clear, we know that you're our enemy, we're going to treat you like one. Now you have the Biden administration, again, trying to become friends with the same group of people that are trying to kill you. And so you see this type of attacks when they feel you're not going to do anything about it.
I get you.
I can poke you all I want.
Yeah.
But by doing this, I promise you that this is going to save a lot of lives. This is going to have a lot of bad people second guessing as to whether or not it is a good idea to go after all of these locations and to kill somebody. You know what I mean? So I give the Biden administration a lot of credit for making the choice to take this action. They deserve the credit because again, it's the one thing that was missing. You know what I mean? Still, you know, I mean, I just want to hear a little more. You know, don't drag us into this war, but we're ready to jump into it if we have to. You know,
I guess
so.
yeah.
Here's where I'm at. This is a conflict that has been happening for thousands of years already. It obviously reemerged, part of it due to the weak leadership, right? It's all a distraction. At the end of the day, here, eggs are super expensive. The price of food, all of that stuff. And it's just so funny that, you know, it's around the time when we start talking about elections and stuff like that, when things like these are resurfacing and they're asking us to pay attention to these things. So don't pay attention about the amount of, what is it, $1 trillion of credit card debt right now that is in place. And this is not government debt. This is
Or that we
like,
added to our deficit.
yeah,
you know,
no, this is
23%.
just good old Visa, MasterCard, I owe
Yeah, no,
X
and I
amount of
agree with you. There's absolutely this is an all. There's nothing new about when things are really going very bad. What we need is a war, right? So I agree with that principle 100%, right? And that's not my issue. You know what I mean? Because I think that we all agree that sometimes some of these things are not so happening so by accident. But the thing is that once it's actually happening, we do have the responsibility to protect our own people. You know?
I agree, yeah.
And so however we got there, whether it's a political game, whether you're saying, if you look through history, you go like almost every president that was a war president almost got reelected. We can go down that route also and have a lengthy conversation about it. But I'm just saying, for this moment, when we are already in the middle of a conflict, and you already had people that are looking at us saying, you guys are in a very weak position, we're going to start attacking you, right? Because we believe that we're that weak, right? By at least doing something like this, is gonna, because I don't have an issue with the whole idea that they believe that they're gonna stimulate, get reelected, maybe the economy, you need to move all that money. However it is that they see this, which for some of us doesn't make any sense, that's the option you wanna go. But for me though, you know, the fact that you have real people, real American lives that are out there fighting without even questioning, why are we fighting here or why are we here? And that they are at risk just because we don't take certain actions. So I do, knowing that we are already in it, you know what I mean? I like to see this type of actions because I know that something is being done that ultimately is going to protect more lives. And the fact of the matter is that the lives that are being protected are there. There are Democrats, there are Republicans, you have independents, you have even a few socialists in there. They wear the uniform. You have female, you have male, you have everything in between wearing the uniform, right? So I wanted to be protected. This was the right message to send.
I get you. To me, I agree with both of you guys. I think this is the right action, you know, that they took. I definitely think it is also a distraction. But bigger than both of those things, what I want to keep in mind is what are we doing to continue to have this mindset? And what I'm saying is this, and this is based off of the last conversation we were just having. I don't think we realize that what we do today is going to affect us 10, 20 years from now.
Correct.
Right? And if we keep going in a certain direction where we celebrate victims or we celebrate we don't stand up for, then a situation like this will happen 10 years from now and we will do nothing. Because we've come under the understanding of, it doesn't matter if somebody kills 18 people. No one should be thinking, we need to destroy this person's. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I think it's good that we have an administration that will still do that now. But the way we going, if we're not careful, it won't be the case continuously. You know, so I think it's important for us to make sure whatever our values are that we hold on to those things.
And that's precisely the reason why I was saying that it's extremely important that Israel really follows through with the promise of getting rid of Hamas, because if it's a one-sided perspective and opinion and argument when people are suggesting that the only reason why the Palestinian people are suffering is because of Israel. Yeah. One of the main reasons why the Palestinian people are suffering is because of Hamas. And so the way they treat their own people, the amount of abuses, the amount of like talking about kidnapping their own people, torturing their own people, doing a lot of things that you go like, how can you claim to be in a position to rule a group of people and to treat them like that and not to have an issue to use them as human shields? You know what I mean? That's, to me, is the biggest issue with the whole situation. So I hope they clean up, because here's what happens. They clean up, then the next group is Hezbollah, who happen to be placed out of Lebanon, right? Yeah. Those guys are going to be saying, do we want to be cleaned up, or should we start playing nice a little bit, or shall we do it? Do you understand?
Absolutely, absolutely.
It truly is peace through strength. Yeah. This whole idea that you have your agenda, they have you have their agenda, and at the end of the day, somebody in the table is saying, I'm fighting for my agenda. I don't care how many people die. I don't care what happens. The only way is peace through strength. I don't care what anybody says about that.
When did ISIS go away?
To the extent that it can be said, ISIS never went away. ISIS still is in there. As a matter of fact, Hamas is part of. But to say that they were actively, doing campaigns and attacks and stuff like that was finally decimated under Donald Trump.
Okay, so
this is only a couple of. We're talking
that's
about
what I mean. It's like
you can say 3 years ago. 3 years ago.
Just,
yeah.
I'm
And it's something that listen, look, there are certain cultural differences that we have. And we take for granted the fact that we grew up in the West, we think in a very specific way, we believe in certain things, and we, somewhere, somehow, maybe, it's just we don't know how to be humble about our process of thinking and our perspective of life in a very arrogant way. We actually believe that everybody thinks the way we do. And that's not it. That's like there are things that once you read about what they believe and what they would be willing to accept and how they're going to handle. Listen, man, to see this whole, gays for Palestine. Let me put that group of people in a plane and have them go protest. Let me put them. They can join because there was a group of people that were protesting in Afghanistan, right? I can send them to Afghanistan just like that. Make sure you got the pride flag and the whole thing, and they go see what happens. See what happens, because that's it's stupid. It's nonsense.
The only country in the Middle East that is friendly to LGBT people is Israel.
It's Israel, and it's the one that's not getting. You mean to tell me that the gayest place in the planet is not the one?
By the way, they have the biggest pride parades.
They do.
Probably
Israel?
even better than here.
That's funny.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised.
Anyway, guys, a final thing that I can tell you this is the Speaker of the House. We finally have a Speaker of the House. His name is Mike Johnson, from the state of Louisiana. Consider he's 51 years old. So if you look at the current people that we got,
corpses.
Nancy was 81, or I don't know how old she was, but it looked like she
800.
We need to seriously.
I know that she had a conversation with Moses personally. You know what I mean? At some point, when you look at Mitch McConnell, when you look at our current president, a guy who's 51 years old, it's like you got to be asking.
Yeah, that's the new 20.
You might be too young to be in it. Are you sure you have the experience to be with this group? But listen. I like it. Here's the only thing that I want to highlight. I wish him well. You know what I mean? This is a man of faith. This is somebody who is endorsed by President Trump, and he's a friend of Donald Trump. And I think that during these times, that's actually a good thing. You know what I mean? You want to.
He didn't necessarily endorse him, but he said
he did. No,
he didn't say not to endorse him. He was very.
No, he did. He did. I mean, he was not even one of the candidates. You know what I mean? It was just that, the people that came was just not. So, but here's what I want you to know. This is something that was extremely needed for a couple of reasons. Here's the one thing the Democrats are really doing very well. They are showing a united front. Mm-hmm. The only reason, a friend of mine, a very good insider, as a matter of fact, without mentioning names, very close friend to somebody who's at a very high level of politics when it comes to the Democrat, both in the Senate and Congress, was saying to me that the ticket is going to be the same ticket. So it's going to be Biden-Harris. We don't want to change anything. We don't want to look the way Republicans are looking right now, where they can't even agree about their own guy.
That's what I was saying. Last week.
You know what I mean? And so that idea that they look very divided, just make them weak. You don't need them to be. So we don't want to look like that. So everything that you see right now is gonna stay exactly the way it is. We're not making any changes in anybody who's saying something. So it makes sense when now you go back to the conversations that we were having about Newsom. He comes across, the difference between him and DeSantis is what? DeSantis came across as the guy who helped you get elected to become a governor. You're running against him when it comes to presidential. Newsom and the other hand, it's nothing but listen. A guy, look at his policy. He's been doing phenomenal. Sometimes he needs a little oxygen, but that happens to all of us, you know. Right? The guy just comes across likable, friendly, but more than anything else, loyal.
I like it.
And that's the reaction that everybody has. You know what I mean? I kind of like that. You know what I mean? I like it. So that's going to be a very strong opponent at some point when it comes to national politics. Have a
speaker. To everybody that is wounded in the gay community about some of the things that he said, just look at your bank account, look at how many cars are at default, and look at the price of eggs, and then start worrying about whatever he said 10, 20 years ago later. Let's just pay attention to the main thing, which is how are we going to be able to continue to pay for our current quality of life without an incredible amount of inflation and stuff like that.
Well, I will tell you when it
it's
comes to
like,
that.
you are so focused on stupidity.
When it comes to that, a very small group of people were complaining so loudly. They got a very very big group of people to start to literally to start apologizing about their belief system, values and principles, and their relationship, their personal relationship between them and God, and how they were expressing what they believe, which is the reason why at some point I even said, you know what, the difference between Christians and Muslims is that Muslims couldn't care less about what this group of people, they're gonna do whatever they need to do. They have a stronger, they're not gonna apologize, they couldn't care less about who gets offended. So guess what? What we're gonna see right now is a wave of people that are saying we are the silent majority, has been putting up with the crap that came out of this very small group of people, and it's going to be a pushback. And but more than anything else, I just like people that are very clear about what they believe. You know what I mean? I don't have to agree with what you're, but I'm
100%.
respectful of somebody's principles. Somebody's saying this is the way I see life. As long as you're clear about it and you're not being moved around like a pawn, that's your position, man. Yeah, by all means,
No
I'm good
flippy
with that.
flopping.
Anyway, anything to say about this man, or just wishing him well for the benefit of the
Let's get back to
country?
business.
I didn't realize that the Speaker of the House was
That important?
Yeah, so it's like second in line behind the Vice President, pretty
Yes.
much. At some of
Succession,
the-
yeah.
yeah, so I'm like, it's a big deal,
Yeah.
and the fact that he's actually closer to our age, that's a good
Yeah,
thing, you
yeah.
know. So I'm
Our
excited.
age.
Yes, what you mean?
Your age!
But-
Do not!
She's in denial about
That's
the
what's
fact
happening. It's okay, don't worry about
she's
it.
getting up
Fake
there.
news.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I appreciate it. But either way, it's good that we have one, regardless. You know, so it took them a
100%.
while.
Let's
Yeah,
get
so
back
that's
to
good.
business.
Any closing remarks, sir?
Look, for me, is do not get distracted with all of the noise that is happening. They're gonna, again, the job of media is to make sure that they have eyeballs on them. And the best thing to do is to have conflict everywhere. Everybody likes a telenovela. At the end of the day, the number one thing that you have to pay attention to is the fact that holidays are around the corner. Look at your bank account, look at your paycheck, look at the way that you're finding ways to make money. Find a way to make additional money. Your job is not as secure as you think it is. We're finding more and more people silently being let go and positions being silently eliminated. Talking about the silent majority. So is what can you do to have a little bit more control of your life, of your income, of your time? For me specifically, is entrepreneurship and learning sales. I hope that you are investing in the most important person in this whole conversation, which is yourself. You're taking the time to listen to a different perspective from a couple of people. I hope that you're taking as much time to craft your values and principles, your beliefs, and more than anything else, an opportunity to control your life today.
I like it. So for me, I think the biggest thing is there's two things we always got to be thinking about, and I think sometimes we get too focused on one or the other. And what I'm going to say is you got to be thinking about what can you do in the next year, and then also what's going to happen 10, 20, 30 years down the line. And I think for whatever reason, a lot of times we only want to focus on one of those things, where you got to find a way to really be thinking about both. So yes, what can I do in the next year if I am serious about buying a house, or if I do want to be in a better position financially? That may be different, or it may not be the same exact thought process that I need to have of what's going to be best for my kids, or my grandkids, So I think we got to be thinking about both of those things. So yes, put yourself in a better position today. But if anything, I would say even more importantly, make sure you're building the foundation so that your kids and your grandkids are going to be in a better position. And that comes from having the right values and principles, and standing up for what you believe in and know that you believe in something, So to me, that's always the biggest thing. But I'm just excited for where we are. I know a lot of crazy things are going on, but I actually believe that a lot of good is going to come out of, everything that's going on right now. So I'm excited.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave you with a question, right? Because if you actually want to know how to answer what should be your position about this Second Amendment argument is how would you like to be in what position? How would you like to be able to react? What kind of tools would you like to have if your family ever found, you and your family ever found yourself in a movie theater and a bowling alley, just doing whatever, and a crazy person walked in trying to kill everyone that is with you? Would you like to be able to defend yourself? That should be able to give you a little perspective about what to support as a position. So that's my point. With that being said, everybody,
32 seconds.
not 32 seconds. With that being said, the haters, I think I'll tell
right.
you. You know what I
Like,
mean?
comment,
I
subscribe.
have a weapon for you.
my
It's gonna be. So, with that being said, yes, absolutely. Listen, pass it around.
Yes.
But seriously, you know what I mean? It's like when you listening to all these political points, you know, ask yourself, how would I like to protect? Would I like to be at least in a position to defend my family? Would I like to be able to have the tools to do something different than just sitting there with it? That's got to be the only worst thing about dying is how you die, right? If it doesn't happen in a way that is even, especially dignifying, you know what I mean? It's like old age or something like that. So I think that's something that should help you find a way to process in a very personal level. Forget about politics, forget about anything else, just at a very personal level, how would you do it? But pass it around, share with us, you know what I mean, what would be your perspective? What do you think would be, you know, especially, by the way, any future topics that you would like us to go into just a little deeper, you know what I mean, feel free to let us know. But appreciate you, appreciate everybody. We'll see you the next one. Thank you.